Well, I just finished the most difficult part of the day, which was to hold that and avoid dropping it. So first of all, Taoiseach, Michael, thank you to all of you who are here. Thank you. This is really a special day for Microsoft. It's a special day for me personally. It is a great moment for us just to reflect briefly on the history we've had together, a company and a country, and I think what that says about the future we can strive to create together. Let me share just a few anecdotes about the remarkable history we've had. Yes, Microsoft came here in 1985, and it came for a specific reason. At the time, software programs were getting bigger. They could no longer fit on a floppy disk, and it became apparent that the company, and every software company, was going to have to manufacture what were called CDs or CD-ROMs. And so we would need to find a place where we could do that as a company for all the people of Europe. Ireland became that place. And there started, in 1985, a new history for our company and this country. And happily, I had the opportunity to be a part of it personally. In 1990, I was a young lawyer working in London for the American law firm I joined, and one of the firm's clients, my client, was Microsoft. And at the time, everybody understood that the key to the future of software in Europe would be the creation of a single market for software through the European community. There was a software copyright directive that was designed to create just that. But it led to an incredible row and ultimately a stalemate between the governments of Europe. And it fell to the government of Ireland in 1990 when it assumed the presidency of the European community to try to fashion a way forward. Across the technology sector, there was one young CEO who I think more than anyone else had the vision to see that there needed to be a compromise. And that was Bill Gates at Microsoft. And so it fell to me, this wonderful opportunity as a young lawyer, to try to work with people here in Dublin to see if together we might be able to come up with a creative solution. And we did, in a Dublin kitchen of an employee, an official of the Department of Enterprise and Commerce. The Irish government took that forward, the compromise was found, the governments of Europe came together, and a directive was passed that started to create the foundation for a single technology market in Europe. 3 years later, I had the good fortune to move from London to Paris to join Microsoft to lead what was called the Department of Law and Corporate Affairs, and my very first project was to have a team put that into action. Because we were manufacturing our CDs as a company here in Ireland, but because the European community was divided, it was not possible for retailers or developers or distributors to order software and have it shipped. Instead, it had to go to a warehouse that was separately run in every country. Well, our project was to change that. So it would become possible for Ireland and people here to serve all of the European community. And we did change it, and that became possible, and that is what started to help drive down prices for software for people in the European community. The software industry started to explode. Now, interestingly, it was about 4 years later, when I had been promoted, I was back in a new job in Redmond, Washington, near Seattle, what we call the Emerald City, inspired by the Emerald Isle, obviously, when the Irish Department of Enterprise and Commerce sent a delegation to visit. And the same individuals here in Dublin who had the foresight to capitalize on the transition from floppy disks to CDs came and said, we see where the industry is going. You're going to transition again. The future isn't in CDs or DVDs, it's in data centers. And we in Ireland want to be the place where Microsoft builds its first data center in Europe. I was tasked to go to the meeting to say no. I had the relationships with the people. The individual in whose kitchen I had sat was literally the person across the table. And I sat down and explained, we would love to build a data center in Ireland. It is just not possible. And when the question was put to me as to why, my answer was very clear. There just does not exist today an undersea cable to link Ireland with the continent. And without a cable, a data center isn't going to reach many people. Well, little did I know that everyone from the Irish government had thought about this before I did. So the answer on their side of the table was, give us 3 months. You give us 3 months, and we will solve this problem. Well, we had 3 months. What the heck? Why not? It was the least we could do to people who had been so nice to us. And sure enough, 3 months later, the Irish government had a contract in place to lay the first undersea cable to link Ireland with continental Europe. And as a result, Microsoft built its first European data center here on the Emerald Isle. The rest, in many ways, is history. Who would have imagined that you could come to Ireland and see this extraordinary set of data centers, not only for Microsoft, but for other companies across our industry as well? Who would have imagined, I certainly would not, that we would have the presence here today? It is, as you heard, the 4,000 people who work here for Microsoft. It's also 2,800 people who work here for LinkedIn, which Microsoft, of course, owns. What that means is that today, the 6,800 employees that Microsoft has in Ireland are more than we employed in the entire world when I joined the company 31 years ago. That alone is remarkable. But that is the least of the feat that we have built together. Because what one finds for Microsoft here in Ireland is 3 things that you almost never see together. You see this extraordinary capital investment and this world-class technology embodied in our data centers. You then see this extraordinary research and product development center that has literally brought people together from around the world. We have here in Ireland employees from 98 countries who speak 35 languages. That is extraordinary. And then you have LinkedIn as well. The truth is there are only 2 countries in the world where you can attract at scale this kind of world-class talent from around the world, the United States and Ireland. It is an extraordinary accomplishment for this country. And the partnership that we have forged, I believe, has made Microsoft's success possible. It has bent the arc of history, I believe, for the Irish economy and for the company that we have become. And it has benefited not only the people from around the world who have come here, but literally people in every country in Europe. Because we've created here the ability to serve Europe with the technology that Europe needs to conquer the competitiveness crisis that it clearly is part of Europe's future. It has benefited the people of Ukraine, who we have defended since the day that war began, with our engineers and data scientists, people who have evacuated from Ukraine their data before the first Russian cruise missile could destroy the Ukrainian government's data center. It has enabled us to defend the people and government and economy of Ukraine from the relentless cyber attacks and hybrid warfare that they have had to defend themselves and all of the free world against. And it has enabled them. Working together, sitting together, standing together, we here in Ireland continue to do what it takes to protect this continent and build a better future. So Taoiseach, I want to say thank you to you, Michael, the IDA, is an extraordinary resource, not just for Ireland, but for a company and an industry like ours. But I also want to say thank you to everyone in this audience. Thank you to everyone in this country. Thank you to those of you who were born here. Thank you to those of you who have come here. You have made our success possible. And as we look to the future, we will continue to live in uncertain times. That is obvious. In every country, there is often change. In Microsoft's 50-year history, a birthday we will celebrate next month, we will look back and remember that for 26 of those 50 years, there was a Republican in the White House, and for 24 of those years, there was a Democrat in the White House. Leaders change, policies change. But I will say this to each of you and to everyone in Ireland and across Europe. When it comes to our company, our partnership with Ireland and our support for Europe is steadfast. You can count on it. Thank you very much.